Welcome everyone to On the Map, where the Life Choices team takes time out of their day to recap the trip that they've taken.
What's up, lifers? Today we're going to be doing On the Map, and this time we're going to Maui.
It's true.
Oh my god, we started too strong, now we're just going to go down.
We are chatting about Maui, places to go, things to see, things to do, places to eat on this beautiful and very popular vacation destination in Hawaii.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover today is like general tips, tricks, a little bit of advice. So obviously, most of you know that the flight is extremely long. So I think that there's something to be said for where you're booking your flights out of, where your layover lands, and what kind of seat you're sitting in. So if you're sitting in economy or if you're going to upgrade your seat a little bit. Once I flew out of, I think it was Dallas to go over to Hawaii. Wasn't my favorite travel days of my life. I much prefer to go all the way to California and then go to Hawaii from there, because then instead of like a 9-hour leg, you're getting like a 5-hour. That's just how I prefer to do it. If you're going somewhere that far, it's just like worth it to think about it. Something also to be said for Maui, this is probably something that would apply to most of the Hawaiian Islands, but just keep in mind with the locals that live there. Obviously respect the fact that a lot of Maui, a lot of the most beautiful parts of Maui, it's private property. So be considerate of the people that are living there, of the people that are around you when you're doing things. I think sometimes some of the most popular like destinations to go see, I mean, in Maui you've got the road to Hana, you've got black sand beaches, you've got the red sand beach. A lot of that area is private property, so just be considerate of that and do your research ahead of time. The road to Hana is, we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but it's one of the most popular things to do on Maui. There's no service over there. There's no service on that entire road. You gotta do all your research ahead of time. Do not get in your Jeep with 2 bottles of water and try to do the road to Hana. It won't, no, just don't do it. Just don't do it. We're gonna talk about that in segment 3 of this video today. That's a great destination, but do your research ahead of time for most of the things you're gonna wanna do in Maui, and consider that honestly, you probably need to plan ahead. Brooks was just talking about earlier, when you're going somewhere that far with that much of a time difference, make your trip long enough that you're not gonna get there and just as you get it adjusted to the 7-hour, 6-hour time difference, you turn around and go home.
Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere that you're traveling in Hawaii, or if you're bopping around to different islands, still give yourself that recovery time of day 1. Mm-hmm. This is not a 2-day trip. This is really like a 4-day trip, absolutely minimum. If you're traveling to other islands, definitely maximize your time there by giving yourself the time to have a full, week or so to enjoy being there.
One other thing, if Seth was here, one of our gang members, also my husband, if he was here, he would tell you, if you plan to surf every day of your trip, buy a surfboard. Do not rent one. Do not rent one for like $60 every day. If there's genuinely swell, you're there at the right time, check Surfline. If the waves are right, just literally get on Facebook Marketplace and buy a local surfboard, and then you can give it to one of our friends there when you leave. It would be great. So that's just a tip that honestly we started implementing when we went to Hawaii, and it saved us money.
And I guess to wrap up the highlights of things to keep in mind as you're traveling to Maui, something that I would mention is if you want to make the most out of exploring the island, you're gonna need to drive. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind also that the roads on the Hawaiian Islands look much different than how they look in a big city hub of the contiguous US. So there, specifically, Road to Hana will give you goosebumps. It will make you car sick if you get car sick, which we both do. Be mindful of that. Pack everything that you need in your car. If it makes sense to you to connect with a local, or if you want to connect with us, we can put you in touch with someone who very well might be willing to drive you around for the day. It is not so much, winding dirt roads as it is winding cliffside roads, and there are locals driving on these roads that, again, you want to be respectful of. So being mindful and not overly confident because you're traveling in an area that you may not be familiar with, and just really going into your travel day, your excursion days with a full plan and as absolutely much information as possible, because you're going to run into a lot of spots that don't have service, and you would hate to find out at the end of the day that you were 2 miles away from this incredible waterfall, but you couldn't get service and you weren't familiar with the roads and you didn't end up getting there. So that is a huge thing that I would say, is be mindful what the driving experience is like when you're going to be exploring Maui, and prepare accordingly. So you find yourself in Maui and you've got to eat. One of the places that we visited that we would highly recommend is in an area called Kihei. It is called, appropriately, Kihei Cafe. This is a locally run, delicious food spot. They primarily have breakfast, brunch, and lunch servings. It's kind of a true Hawaii experience, I would say. The line is always out the door, and it's so worth stepping in there. They've got a really vast menu. We, in true Life Choices fashion, ordered a little bit of everything and shared it. Everything was absolutely delicious. Highly recommend Kihei Cafe, especially if you've got a big excursion day. This is a great place to stop, load up on carbs and good food before you head out for the day.
Kihei Cafe is also located in a part of Kihei and Maui that the locals call the Triangle. Picked up on that last time I was there. The Triangle has a lot of awesome spots that you can stop and see. So if you're going to go to Kihei Cafe, just plan to look around at the Triangle. The other spot that we would recommend is up in Lahaina. So Lahaina is a really beautiful area, a little bit more touristy, but a location there that we went for dinner was called Kimo's. Honestly, the hula pie is what probably stands out the most, and it was the dessert. Great views, the sunset we saw there was insane, and the food was pretty good. I am easily pleased, and I really liked it. So highly recommend that from me especially.
So touching on some things to do while you're in Maui, we absolutely have to emphasize the road to Hana. If you are heading to Maui and you want the quintessential Hawaii experience, to see the mountains and the beaches, the wildlife, and some of the more historic architecture, the road to Hana is a must. This is not for the faint of heart by any means. This road is listed on as one of the deadliest roads to drive, specifically because if you are not mindful and patient and slow, if you're taking this road if you're taking this road wildly, there can be really bad consequences. You will see. It is cliffside, and there are not necessarily barriers at all. So just going with a crew that you trust, making sure that somebody is in the driver's seat that you trust. Again, if you don't necessarily have somebody comfortable driving, absolutely connect with a local, reach out to us. We can connect you with a local who can drive you for the day. On the road to Hana, you will pass some absolutely beautiful, breathtaking sights, from basically just rolling hills with wild animals out and about, to the black sand beaches, red sand beaches. Totally pull your car over, snap some pictures. Again, it's not like this is necessarily mapped out with signs or very specific roads. You're just gonna have to do a little bit of thinking on your feet to how you pull off sometimes. You will also pass on the road to Hana a beautiful old church, which is absolutely worth a stop and just really taking in the experience, the atmosphere of Maui. I will also mention that if you're prone to motion sickness, this is the day you do road to Hana is the day to pop your Gravol or whatever kind of motion sickness meds you might have. And I will also repeat that pack water and snacks and make sure that you are prepared for a long and beautiful car ride that does not feature any gas stations or places to stop and get food necessarily. It is quite very much through the rural area of the island.
Yeah, the road to Hana is really beautiful. I don't recommend trying to do the whole loop in one day. I've done the whole loop once and stopped and stayed the night in Hana. That's how I recommend doing it. On the considered backside of the road to Hana, the LC crew did it backwards, and we actually started at the end and went backwards towards the 7 sacred pools. But it is, if you went the normal way, you'd go I think it's 3 hours if you drove it nonstop to get to Hana, stay the night in Hana, wake up and drive the backside another probably 3 hours. And on that backside is 7 sacred pools. Really beautiful. It's 7 waterfalls that pool all the way out to the ocean. It's really, really insane to see. We did a lot of photo and video there, the 3 of us, so we'll make sure to include some of that in this video. But it's also something that if you want to do it the way that we did it, we went just the back way, that's something that you can absolutely do in one day. And it's really beautiful, and it gives you all those, epic views that you think of when you think of the road to Hana. We have 100 more stories, tips, and tricks where that came from, and we love Hawaii. I think Maui is one of all of our favorite places we've ever been, so we'd be more than happy to share any more recommendations with you. If you go to 7 Sacred Pools, if you go to any of these places, please share photos with us, tag us. We would love to see what you saw. And as always, please remember to scroll on up, hit the like button if you liked this today, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. We're so thankful for you. Thank you for coming back to watch another section of
On the Map.
We'll talk to you next time.